what we're going to try to do today is replace the P-trap under the kitchen sink here. One of the first things will be to restore a clean out at the bottom. The next thing that we're going to do is to properly connect both of the basins together. We're going to be using an air admittance valve to promote drainage, allowing the air to go one way and not allowing the sewer gases to come back out. To create this in advance, I took a center line of both tail pieces and then simply set my fittings down center to center to mirror that. We're measuring face to face of fitting and adding 1.5 inches, which is 3/4 of an inch per fitting to accommodate for the hub. On the tail pieces here, we've got nuts, and this nut will screw down on top of our trap adapter and secure this against the tail piece itself. So I'm going to go ahead and put this part up here right now because it helps dictate my elevation. One of the things that we want to pay attention to is that all of our drainage has grade. Okay, so right now we're going to start building from the bottom up. We're going to start with a clean out, and this ABS clean out is a clean out T and gives us our 2-inch access for the drain line. By taking a measurement between the face here and the top of that coupler, I'm going to call that 3 inches. We're going to add 1.5 inches, 3/4 of an inch per fitting. Our total piece is 4.5 inches. Tighten the tubing cutter up, and now I have to turn it and go around the pipe, and as I'm turning, I'm also tightening with just a little bit of effort. There we go. You could do this with a hacksaw, and you can see that the tubing cutter made a nice clean cut, which not only helps with our measurements but also makes a nice smooth bore on the inside of the pipe. What we're using here is a solvent cement for ABS plastic. There are transition cements that are supposed to be able to handle different materials, but you have to be careful with code as to where you can use those. I'll do some on the inside of the hub and then some on the pipe itself. Unlike PVC pipe, which requires a primer, this does not. Turn just a touch. It's good to hold it, but the smaller pieces, 2-inch and 1.5 inch pipe, aren't as apt to push out as the larger ones. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to install this on my coupler. We've attached to the original drainage down in the basement, which gives us a nice access to the cleanout. The hole with the threads, where we're going to access this cleanout if need be down the road, is going to get its own plug, and I'm going to go ahead and Teflon tape the threads of the plug so we make sure that we have a seal against any sewer gases, or certainly in the case of the drainage itself. The next thing that we're going to position is a sanitary tee. It's required for the kitchen sink to have the 2-inch drain, but the actual trap arm and the P-trap is 1.5 inches. So by holding this up and kind of mocking it together, I'm going to say that my next piece is going to be another 3-inch piece plus our 1.5 inches. So we're going to end up with another 4.5-inch piece of 2-inch ABS. So we're going to glue this piece in right on top of this. Push it in, a bit of a turn and hold, and that's it right there. So what we're going to do here is bring in our sanitary tee and eyeball that it's pointed directly at the tailpiece, which is just about there. The next step is we're going to line up our P-trap, and this is a union P-trap, meaning that we can take the nut apart. By doing this, it's going to allow us to drop the entire drainage assembly and service it. What we've done is we've secured the P-trap by putting a dummy in here, simply just to get this measurement, which is hub to hub. And our measurement is 2.5 inches. We're going to add 1.5 inches and come up with a 4-inch piece of ABS plastic. This is the horizontal part of the trap arm. I'll start by gluing this into my hub and then leveling the bottom of this with my level, and then that will make sure that my P-trap stays true. That looks just right. What we're going to do now is put the rest of the P-trap together, our union P-trap, and now that gives us a chance to take our tailpiece measurement. It's looking as if we're 4 3/4 inches, and we're going to add 1.5 inches to that. So now I'm going to glue into the P-trap here and into the bottom of our sanitary tee, and that completes our tailpiece and our P-trap arrangement. Certainly an advantage to this is the fact that we can adjust this so that it's true and level at the end by turning it within the hub itself. Because of the flare type connection, I'll use a touch of sealant on the inside of this just to make sure that we don't have any leaks. The reason I'm doing that is because this part of the P-trap is underwater. So now we're going to go ahead and install the P-trap by gluing the tailpiece into the sanitary tee and lining up my threads and tightening my nut. Now the very last part of our installation is to restore the vent. The important part of installing this is that the unit itself sits 4 inches above the weir of the trap. So we'll go ahead and we'll take a measurement again and then glue this on. And we can start by gluing into the bottom of our vent. And now we're going to glue the bottom into our hub. And there we are. Huge improvement over what was here before. This entire arrangement can be dropped and serviced or cleaned and put back as it was. Best plumbing in the house.